Hello and welcome to the future of senior caregiving, embracing positivity and cultural sensitivity. Our segment for the month of October is brain health. We are going to share some surprises and strategies on aging and forgetfulness. So our memory allows us to recall past experience, learn new information, and navigate our surroundings with confidence. However, as we age, memory becomes less reliable and forgetfulness can be a very frustrating experience. For many, the fear of memory loss is very real. Let's look at a few areas that are relevant to our segment today. The fear of stigma, just negative stereotypes and being treated differently, feeling differently, having people look at you and, just know that there's just, something that just isn't right, is an awful, awful feeling as you're getting older. Social isolation, just knowing that, again, things are just not feeling right. I recall a woman who would not leave her apartment. She had some different things going on, where her hand shook or she couldn't remember things. And she was a bit embarrassed about her situation and didn't want to be pointed out, just had challenges, finding the right words. These, again, are things that are part of the aging process. Dependency. Older adults may feel becoming dependent on others due to memory-related issues. And so just the idea of having to be dependent on, your family or, a caregiver, you're just not, going to be able to do the things that you normally do. You're going to need to have a little support and some help is kind of fearful. So over the course of this month, we will explore the relationship between aging and forgetfulness and dive into the latest research, discuss some of the factors that contribute to memory loss, and just give you some strategies for maintaining your cognition.
When we think about memory loss, there's two things that come to mind. There's either the long-term memory loss or the short-term memory loss. Short-term memory loss is something that maybe you just forgot to do things more than 30 seconds, stuff that you only retain for 30 seconds. Long-term memory loss is, things that you probably just remembered to do within the, with the last few minutes or even days or even months or years. That's the long-term memory loss. And within the long-term memory loss alone, there are two different kinds of memory within that. There's the implicit memory and the explicit memory. Explicit memory refers to when we recall facts, when we recall events, personal experiences. Oh, I used to do this as a kid during the summer. I went diving off into the pool, I jumped off the tree, or even if you're sitting in a circle, I would do activities where I would ask the seniors who had dementia, who was the president or who was the first lady, and they would recall things from the 1960s and 1950s. That is explicit memory. Implicit memory refers to, what do you do when you pick up a bicycle and you start riding? You ride that bicycle. That's what implicit memory. And these are memories that are recalled when you do certain activities. I would have a woman who did not know where the bathroom was, but if you sat her at the keyboard or at the piano, she would play these Broadway tunes and these hymnals without sheet music. That is an example of the implicit memory recall. And the process that we store these memories, whether it is long-term or short-term, are usually triggered by five senses, mostly five senses. It's the smell, the hear, the feel, the see, and the taste, touch, and the tactile activities, the water-based activities, feeling stuff, smelling stuff. I would have activities where they would smell coffee grounds and that, or even cinnamon, that would bring memories of Christmas, that would bring memories of early morning and what it meant, or even watermelon and the taste of watermelon, or ice cream, or even eating corn. A lot of these were triggered by these different sights or smells, feel, smell, hear, taste, and touch. And so those are some of the descriptions for the
Yeah.
memory and how we store memory.
Mm-hmm. And so, as we look at normal changes in memory loss, almost 40% of us will experience some form of memory loss after we turn 65 years old. So again, it's normal to experience some changes. However, there is, some red flags when it goes beyond normal. So let's look at a couple of examples here. So making a bad decision occasionally, of course, that's very normal. But when it comes to making poor judgment decision making, that's something to be concerned about. I'm reminded of a woman that lived alone in her apartment and went to the grocery store and brought her groceries home and put her bag in the cupboard, and instead of the refrigerator. And it wasn't but a couple of days where everything got to smelling pretty bad. So that's a red flag that she's really having some real serious issues there. Another is making a monthly payment late every now and then. I think we could all say that that happens here and there. But the inability to manage money or have a budget. This is when you hear about, elders giving money away, or, you know what I mean, not counting their money, not knowing where their money is. Just when it comes to money and payments and, keeping up with a regular routine gets to be very challenging. Of course, forgetting which day it is and remembering later. The key is, of course, you can wake up and not remember exactly what day it is. That happens at times. But, just to be able to, catch yourself and remember that. But those that are experiencing more serious memory challenges are losing track of the day and the season. And again, I remember getting a call from adult protection in my practice about a woman that went out to take the trash and it was below zero. And, she's out there with shorts on and a little top on. And so, the call is, can we do a health and welfare check and kind of see what's going on? So that was enough of a red flag for the neighbors to see if they could get some help for her. And then, of course, forgetting what word to use every now and then, or forgetting a name. I think that happens pretty frequently. And, I call that, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Give me a minute. But, when it's a little bit more serious, it starts to run into a conversation where it's not just a word, but, just to be able to regularly communicate, keeping sentences together. That's a red flag. Losing things from time to time is normal, happens quite often. However, misplacing something and not being able to retrace your steps to even find that. I know a guy had some kind of clothing, and instead of putting it away where he can, in the closet, he put it in the refrigerator. And it just didn't have a clue, and so, again, there's definitely some issues going on with the brain. Statistics and data show that the most noticeable changes in cognitive function is a decline in processing speed. So this is where I say people need to have grace and be kind to themselves, because you just have to slow things down, because your brain is slowing down. And so one of the important things that you need to stay away from is multitasking. It's just not going to be the same anymore. And you want to be accurate, so you need to take one task at a time, and then you'll show more signs of being accurate. But trying to do 3 and 4 things as you age is just not something that is beneficial any longer. So one of the things that has been known to be helpful is mental stimulation. So, just doing some cognitive games, playing boards, puzzles, crossword puzzles, word search, all of these type of things, and learning new skills and stuff, that keeps your brain active and healthy, as well as regular exercise also improves your cognitive function. So here's the best news. The older brain has at least one advantage over a younger one, and that is wisdom. And how important is wisdom? We have accumulated experience that help us to make sound decisions. And another thing is our vocabulary also peaks in our late 60s and early 70s. And this is according to a Massachusetts study. So how great is that? So now this is something to be said about seasoned adults. So when you do speak, you know that you can speak with wisdom and experience.
And wisdom and experience is huge. We talk about what memory loss is and forgetting which day it is. I would have an older lady that had dementia. She was in probably the beginning stages or middle stages or probably the end. And she would wear a Santa Claus hat, certain times in the middle of summer, and walk into the center. I ran a day program, and she would say, "Merry Christmas, everyone." And you know how the feeling of Christmas means for all of us. Some of the other participants would say, "It's not Christmas." And I would say, "Merry Christmas, Miss Doris. It is Christmas." And she would have this big old smile because to her it was Christmas. And I think one of the things that we need to remember is that we get to respect them for where they are and their realities are, because these memory losses are they're real, and we meet them halfway. And some of the risk factors that we discuss that lead to memory loss, there isn't something that we can pinpoint that makes us lose our memory. But some of this is we know that age is, as you get older, we're living longer than our grandparents are, or even our great-grandparents. We are at a higher risk of losing our memories, because when we look at the brain itself, there are certain synapses and neurons. These synapses that are attached to these neurons in the brain cells have to talk to each other. And over time, memory loss becomes evident because these synapses aren't talking or they aren't connecting. And some of the factors that led to this is genetics. Maybe your parents had dementia, or maybe your siblings had dementia, and so you are at a higher risk. The lifestyle habits: were you a smoker? Did you not have a good nutrition diet habit? And sometimes with other risk factors, we live with comorbid diseases. Simply means that there's chronic diseases that we have: Parkinson's, heart, stroke, that can trigger, or that can also lead to memory loss. And there's certain tests out there that we can determine to sort of pinpoint that there is some memory loss going on.
For sure. And so as I look a little bit into the diagnosis of memory loss and dementia, there are several tests that are given. It's really a long process, really takes several days and just a lot of rigorous testing. However, it's important for people of color to know that it is not necessarily culturally responsive, nor is the process culturally sensitive. And so we need to be mindful that, it's designed for the larger population. And so, they're not going to ask, questions that, what I mean, you might resonate with you a little bit more, they might ask you about, going to the cabin and, what I mean, what it was like, visiting, different places. But, we would be more inclined to, want to communicate and talk about, what family is like, and, just things that we enjoy as activities. However, that's not where we are right now. And so you need to be mindful of that, it's not going to be, it's not going to resonate. Even if you weren't demented, you know what I mean? You'll have to think twice about that. So I cannot stress enough the importance of a caregiver or a family member, you know, taking some time to understand this procedure and just ask questions, as well as be available to answer questions. I've definitely had clients that have, you know, walked away very frustrated as their loved one was going through the testing, because again, you know, it's very long, and you know, they get a little frustrated because of you know, just the schedule of it. And you know, many times if there's not a real good relationship with the neurologist or geriatrician or whoever is doing the test, you know, they just feel like, you know, I need to have a second opinion. This just isn't feeling well. And you know, so know that you know, that's something, you know, this is really something that really takes a family being involved in. It's not just like going to have a physical or something. So some of the exams are, you know, taking a medical history, a detailed medical history or family history, and wanting to know, you know, as Anna mentioned, you know, what's going on in your family line? Do you know anything? Have you seen dementia, memory loss, or anything? A cognitive assessment involves a standardized test and questions, and you know, they want to check your language, attention, and those type of things. Laboratory tests, blood to check for medical conditions, thyroid, vitamin deficiencies, neuroimaging, MRI, a CT, functional assessments, just a battered of testing. Again, that takes quite some time. And sometimes they have to repeat assessments to make it necessary to track the process of just the cognitive symptoms and confirm the diagnosis of dementia. So it's vitally important to note that a diagnostic process can be complex and it takes time, but it's very important that you look into this as early as possible, because the early stages of dementia is when you get better results for treatment planning and be able to use some of the early medications. So if you or your loved one is experiencing cognitive changes, it's essential to get and look into an evaluation from a healthcare professional specializing in cognitive disorder. I hope this information has been helpful. Please continue to tune in and click on the link below to reach out to Anna and I.
And I think this is a huge for us. You know, memory loss is something that we know someone that is going through memory loss, our parents, our siblings, you know, even sometimes we refer to our grandparents who are taken care of, and not, you know, we talk about Alzheimer's because that's a more common form of memory loss, or the lack of ability to be able to process information. And we kick off October with this Brainfest and this focus on the dementias, or the Alzheimer's, as we can talk about. There's many forms of dementias, but brain function and the decline in brain function. And Alzheimer's Walk in our communities have been taking place since the beginning of September and will go till the end of October. Every city across the nation is doing an Alzheimer's Walk. And the whole purpose for this walk is for funding. We need funds to be able to do research. And we also need to have bring awareness to Alzheimer's, not only to Alzheimer's, but the losses that we are feeling as individuals, as a family. There is a huge responsibility that we are taking on in regards to the physical, emotional, also the financials. The finances for this is in the trillions of dollars to be able to take care of someone that has lost their memory or has some memory loss or cognitive decline. So click on the link below and stay tuned to our next segment on exploring what the cognitive decline is like for someone who's aging, and possibly the experiences we have as individuals, not only as ethnic minorities, but also culturally, what we are going through in our own lives.
Yes, yes. Thank you.